Tuning and tuning. This is Dr. Renee Ostertag. When you chime in and you tune in, you're chiming in and you are tuning in to Dr. Renee Ostertag. I am a physical therapist and a psychotherapist, making me a nervous system ninja. And I'm here today to have a conversation with you about the role of being a challenger. We are on a 6-part series that became a 7-part series as a result of the 6-part series. Next week will be 7. Putting it all together. Today is 6. There's some people here, and I want to welcome you sincerely. Can you hear me? I'm assuming you can see me. I'm assuming you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Type in the chat. Can you hear me? Can you see me? And where are you tuning in from? Chime on in. And I ask you this with like a great degree of sincerity because this crazy, wacky part of me like loves people, even though we can be monsters. I have this insane amount of love for people. And if you're a person, that means I have love for you and I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your perspectives. I want to hear your insights and discoveries, your tragedies, your comedies. You are important to me because this community happens because of connection and people. So, Owana can hear me from North Wales. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so good to see you. KP Karen is here from Blue Ridge, Georgia. God, I wish I could do a Georgia accent. Oh, don't even do it. Chew me, Jody. You're chewing in. Earthing. Sound and video are good. We got lots of stars from Doreen. I don't know that I know your name. It's good to see you here. Welcome. If this is your first time, I'm happy you're here. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm glad you did. If you're here live or you're watching later, please feel free to share your thoughts, perceptions, insights in the comments, mostly because I want you to. I'm totally teasing. Part of me is. I would love for you to do it because I love reading them and writing back when I have time, but more importantly, because it helps you learn yourself better. We learn through discovery and sharing our writings, our musings, our soundings. So please do. Today is my 23rd YouTube live. Now, for those of you that know basketball, I'm not an expert, but Michael Jordan was number 23. And I feel like there's something with this 23rd YouTube. I'm ready to take flight with this new Michael Jordan wingspan. Are you a basketball fan? If so, who is your favorite player and why? These people are at the top of their game and the top of their expression in the world. That's exciting and inspirational. My favorite player, for no other reason, is Greg Ostertag. We share somewhere along the distant branches a family tree. Greg Ostertag was a 7'6" basketball player, still is a 7'6" human. I don't know if he still plays basketball, but he played for KU and the Utah Jazz and the Sacramento Kings. And is a very tall man. I believe he's 7'6". So, thank you everybody for tuning in. Today, we are going to be talking about the challenger role, as I mentioned. And I'm going to challenge Marcus here in a minute. It's kind of his sleepy nap time. But I have this fun game that I play with him. And to me, it's a really good visual representation of the inner fight that I have had in the past between my inner persecutor and my inner challenger. So hopefully I can rouse Mr. Marcus and we'll have that game. Last week we talked about the persecutor, and the 2 weeks before that, we talked about the rescuer and the coach. And the 2 weeks before that, we talked about the victim and the creator. And these social roles were created initially by Dr. Stephen Cartman in the 1960s. And then David Emerald, thepowerofted.com created an opposing triangle. So Dr. Cartman saw victim, rescuer, persecutor play out in our social dynamics. And then David Emerald came up with the creator, coach, challenger. So that way we could have something else to do besides be victim, rescuer, persecutor. The thing that I find like fascinating is the role that these um, roles play in our bodies and its connection to health and relationship. Social pain in the brain looks exactly like physical pain. Paisley, you're here. You are such a creator energy. Always have these delightful acronyms. Peace, hug, and love to you, my friend Paisley. Um, Social pain, when we experience social pain, rejection, isolation, loneliness, those light up the same circuits in our brain as physical pain under fMRI, functional MRI. So when you get rejected by another person, your brain will behave as though it is in physical pain. And I've been doing physical therapy for 20 years, and it's amazing how the pain can connect back to social roles that got plugged in as nervous system programs when we were young. And those programs are painful. And over years of running those painful social programs, victim, rescuer, persecutor, those are great for short term use, not long term living. And as we run them in our physical circuits over time, they can show up as physical pain. I'm not saying that's always the case for all pain, but the relationship is fascinating. And so that's what I've been learning through teaching. Oftentimes, teachers teach what they need to learn. So, just so we're clear, my medical disclaimer, everything in this YouTube live is informational and educational in nature. It is not medical advice or treatment. So, please, if you are in need of support in that regard, reach out to a healthcare professional. I am a licensed healthcare professional. If you would like to reach out to me in that way, please do. You can send me an email at info@greentreemind.com, or you can jump onto greentreemind.com and schedule a free consult. I would sincerely enjoy meeting you. Willeen, those programs will kick your ... Yes, they will. And I have a story to tell about Marcus and his empty water bowl and how it can bring up either the persecutor in me or the challenger in me, and the outcomes are very different. So let me so good to see you. So good to see you. When I first got Marcus almost 3 years ago, I was with him at an ex-boyfriend's house. And Marcus wasn't, I don't even know how to describe this. The ex-boyfriend discovered his water bowl was empty, and Marcus was sort of like kind of sweetly wandering around looking for water and couldn't find it. And this gentleman recognized his water bowl's empty, went and filled it, put it down, and then Marcus immediately starts drinking. And the shaming look that I got from this ex-boyfriend, I'm not saying that's what he gave me. That's what I perceived from him, was this absolute shaming. And then the inner persecutor kicked up strong and hard and loud. What the is wrong with you, Renee? Why aren't you a good dog mom? Why can't you even keep the freaking water in the bowl? Your poor dog's dehydrated. He's so thirsty. You didn't even know. You didn't have water in there. And the self abuse from my inner persecutor was real. And as I'm talking about it with you, I feel this sort of like disgust, right? In me as a human, my abdomen muscles are like clenched and locked up, like I'm ready to double over in fierce pain and then like spew my hatred out at him. How dare he call me out for being such a terrible dog mom? Blah, 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 blah. Like the abuse that happened inside is painful. Can anybody relate to their persecutor beating themselves up? Because as I look back on last week when we talked about the persecutor, there was a few things that I got really clear on, and I want to take a moment to recap that. And so the persecutor is all about like right, wrong, good, bad, black and white, very dualistic. And it can feel like a mix. It's a really confusing experience in the body. Like that persecuting energy can feel kind of like a combined good and bad sort of sensation, right? Because when the persecutor's persecuting like true injustice, like there's a good feeling that comes along with being right. Like you got it wrong and I'm right. Like that feels so justifying, validating, correct. Like, yes, right? Like this power over, power up. And it will feel, in my experience, especially good if you have a history of being in the power down position, the power under, the not good enough, the not worthy, like the bad, the shamed. Like when you get to be right, oh, it's so satiating. Owana, you can relate. Yeah. Oh, I can relate too. And Awana, even just reading your words, I can feel the tension around my neck. It's like I'm choking my own self out through the physiological mechanisms of my inner persecutor. And so last week we talked about how it can show up as good and bad, right? Like it can show up as good because you're finally right, but in the end, it feels maybe not good because getting power over someone else doesn't actually get you out of your own shame and fear, the powerlessness within you. And so I think that the shift from persecutor expanding into challenger is like the most difficult one because of that confusing duality of good and bad happening at the same time. And how do you interpret what's good here, what's correct, what's reinforcing old patterns that ultimately don't serve me well, right? Sometimes acting as persecutor against another can feel like a short-term solution that isn't it's creating a long-term problem. Like, yes, short term, I feel better because I'm out of the like badness of my own shame. But long term, I'm just going to sink back in. And now I've shamed them too. All right, we got some comments coming in here. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Paisley, Awana, KP, Solomia, what you got to say here? Paisley's going through old clothes. Ooh. Everything has a different, oh my God, shame or failure at the same time of fond memories. It feels like persecution, but I can't just trash everything. Oh man, that is so, so good. Um, yeah, right. Like that's, I think the hardest part with the persecutor and the challenger is that discernment. What do I keep? What do I get rid of? And if one item of clothing, right? Like an empty dog bowl is gonna happen if you have a dog and you belong to me. It is gonna happen. I'm not gonna get rid of my dog. Paisley, you're not gonna get rid of all your clothes. How do you alchemize and become more of a challenger within yourself? And that's what I hope that we talk to and explore more today. So Paisley, keep in touch with me throughout this talk and let's see if we can find some options, choices, right? The persecutor is like a horse blinder effect. It's very defensive, it's very vigilant, and it's very narrow and limited in how it sees the world and yourself. And the challenger's more like, let me look around. Let me step back here and view this from a different, more open lens. Solomija Vinogradova. I love saying your name. Prefer others, but can beat myself up too. Working with this many years. Amen to you, right? That right there, challenging your own persecutor with love and respect, because at the end of the day, the inner persecutor is so committed and devoted to helping you know something within yourself or your life that would be good for you to know. It just doesn't have good, sufficient, sometimes communication skills to get your attention in a way that's more palatable. So Solomia, right? The self-compassion, beating yourself up less, can oftentimes help interpret the underlying positive intention of the inner persecutor, right? Because it has wisdom, it has an underlying positive intention. It plays a role in your system that is meant to be positive. Like my inner persecutor grips me by the throat. I wake up every morning. It's getting better, but like with this kind of like depressed, I don't want to live, I hate my life type of thing. And the persecutor's trying to tell me, look, girl, you're a rescuer and victim. They're still really strong and I'm tired. Can we find some other strategies here? And I've been really over the last 6 weeks implementing on a deep new level this creator, coach, challenger, 6-character improv stage of my inner world. And I'm waking up happier, my friends. It's like amazing. And then I run into the next roadblock of like, oh, these chemicals are unfamiliar and comfortable. Let me self-sabotage and get back to what's comfortable and familiar. No, let me work on tolerating the discomfort of joy because it's chemically unfamiliar. Owana, jackal communication, as in nonviolent communication, feels good. Yes, it does. I love jackal and giraffe. I don't know if you can see right here. I have a little giraffe in a box and I do some things with that. It's fun. There'll be a video at some point about that. So stay tuned for that one. Jackal feels good. I suspect you might know why, and I'm curious about that. I have some ideas. I've already mentioned some of them. KP, persecutor ex-spouse caused me IBS and acid reflux. Even father flare up my persecutor. I'm free now with no IBS or acid reflux. My friends, this is the thing that drives me nuts about our healthcare system and our medical community. Like, how many people, Karen, KP, would throw drugs at you um, to get rid of your IBS and your acid reflux and limit your food intake? Go get rid of 20,000 foods from your diet and eat these 10. Like, I literally have people on my schedule and they're getting back to eating foods because they're dealing with the underlying nervous system work, right? Like the nervous system ninja is somebody who can tolerate the 3 U's of life, the unexpected, the unwanted, the unknown, right? Like navigating acid reflux and IBS is so freaking challenging. And so, of course, people throw pills at it and eliminate foods. And yet, KP, this is a bit of a soapbox, but you're giving me this like credible evidence. Like, you guys see, like these social roles impact us physically. And as long as I stay in the victim of these persecutors, both inside and outside of me, I'm going to stay unwell because the persecuting energy, I have a history of IBS too. I've been to the emergency room. I've been diagnosed, all the things. Like, it's real. And I'm not persecuting the system. They're doing the best they can. I actually have another story about that I'll get to later. But like, Karen, what did you do to free yourself of IBS and acid reflux? And can you share that with the world? Because so many people don't know about the dynamics within and between, and they're stuck with the limiting choices of eat less foods that are irritating and require a really healthy gut to metabolize, and take these medicines. Like, Karen, please, I'd love to hear. Fresh and Gray, that's a new name. Hey, 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 good to see you. I'm glad you're here. I am trying to incline to follow a favorite film character lately. Yes, please. Maybe you've seen him. His name is Captain Ron. No, give me a link. Put something in the chat here. Captain Ron, I must hear more. It's funny because my name's Renee, Ren. And Captain Ron, maybe he needs to jump on my ship. Maybe I need him to jump on my inner improv stage. Owana, waking up happier sounds incredible. I literally this morning wrote down the script of all the factors that I have been doing that I believe generate this. I've been waking up like I want to die since 2009 when I had like serious adrenal fatigue and a whole bunch of things. So it's taken me a long time, and I would love to be able to shorten the learning curve for other people. Okay. Owana suspects jackal communication might feel good amongst others because it fuels a bit of more or less secret, not so secret now because you're commenting, which helps heal it, right? Not it fuels a bit of grandiosity, which feels good by itself. Absolutely, right? We're getting a need met. If you have a history of trauma, which I love the definition of too much, too fast, too soon. We've all had it. Um, Life, can injure us, not necessarily on purpose, but when our nervous system is young, it will often heal and recover from these injury moments of life with fear and shame wired in, because the system didn't fully get all of the support that it needed to heal. My background's in physical therapy. If I break my leg and it doesn't heal well, I might develop a limp and some compensation strategies, and I can still get around life. But if I break my leg as a kid and then I grow up and I have 30 years of muscle imbalance, compensation, um, faulty tension, joint relationships, that's going to create musculoskeletal problems elsewhere, neuromuscular skeletal problems elsewhere. It's the same with our psycho-emotional injuries. We can compensate and adapt for so long until we can't. And the system's just trying to tell us, hey, can I please have a shot here at full healing? And so when I go jackal or persecutor, it's a temporary fix. It's a short-term strategy that feels really good to the fear, shame-based injury. It's like, power. I've been stuck in powerlessness for so long. Power. But it doesn't complete the loop at the level that the nervous system needs. So I agree with you, Owana. Oh, Jody, Jody, Jody. I always enjoy your comments. Question the persecutor out loud if need be. And I recommend it because when you voice it out loud, it has a more powerful effect on your nervous system. And it's voicing something is actually exhaling because I can't talk on the inhale. So when I breathe out, exhale, I'm actually talking. And so when I talk out my questioning, it's like I can take all this inner jumbled stuff and get it out. And then I can see it more clearly. Jody, part 2. Persecution seems to be the infant stage of becoming a challenger. Oh, that's gorgeous. I'm letting that sink in for a minute. That right there could be a strategy. Whenever you see persecution, that's an honoring moment of a developmental stage, a natural phase of becoming a challenger. Wow, I'm going to celebrate my persecutor in its infancy, which is a necessary phase of development to become an adult. That promotes a little bit of appreciation of the circuits in me that are really good at knowing what's right for me and what's wrong for me, what's okay with me, what's not okay with me, what I'm comfortable with, what I'm not comfortable with. Like persecutor is a really good indicator of um, development of strong and healthy like boundaries. Wow, which promotes trust, which is a big part of the persecutor role. We're going to get into this here momentarily. Thank you for that, Jody. Right? Like help the persecutor grow up by offering compassionate questions. Such a gorgeous thing. And I'm almost done with it. A couple people have reached out for a list of coaching questions. It's over here somewhere. But I have a list of coaching questions. I'm just a little um overwhelmed and behind with formatting and administrative assistance, but I have a list of coaching questions that you can ask the challenger. I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, I went on a hike. I was by myself. It was dusk. No one was there, and my persecutor was up around another situation that did involve Marcus. The dog, Mr. Barkus, he needs to make a cameo appearance today at some point. So I was practicing this technique called labeling. I actually learned it from Chris Voss. He's a former FBI negotiator, and he teaches a skill called labeling. So when you're having a conversation with somebody and you're negotiating, you're actually on the same team on different sides of the problem. So, for example, my friend is getting surgery soon. It's very scary. It's very overwhelming for her. She was complaining the other day about the healthcare system and how challenging it is because she has to advocate for herself and to get her needs met because the doctor doesn't listen. And we've had a lot of discussions about victim, rescuer, persecutor, creator, coach, challenger. And I'm really proud because she's challenging her victim and like trying to advocate for herself and become more of a challenger. But she had slipped a little bit into victim and just this expectation of the doctor's not going to listen to me. I'm not going to be able to trust him. I'm going to go into the surgery not wanting it, which does yield worse outcomes, generally speaking. So I said, what if you and the doctor are actually on the same team and you're fighting against the same problem, which is the healthcare system, insurance companies, the restrictions and the barriers on it? She totally shifted that mindset shift of what if your persecutor and challenger are on the same team fighting the same problem, which is some bigger ubiquitous system somewhere today or in your past. So that's a nice example of what she's doing to challenge the victim in herself. And then that mindset shift challenged her persecutor that was persecuting the doctor. And instead of persecuting the doctor, she made him on her team. And they're both working together against a bigger system. So that was a fun example. Vidheya, good to see you. So back to what I was doing yesterday, I'm hiking and my persecutor's up and I'm doing labeling like Chris Voss had talked about, where somebody says something and then you just label back what you see or hear, right? So my friend persecuting the doctor. Wow, sounds like this is really hard. And then she keeps talking and wow, sounds like that. It sounds like you're really committed to being well. Huh. Yeah, I didn't see that before. And yeah, I'm really like wanting to be well. And it sounds like you really have a lot in life that you want to live for and a lot in life that you want to do. And she's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so that labeling was really helpful. So I was kind of labeling my own persecutor inside. So I didn't mean to go there. It feels like a box that's too big to open for this. Um, okay, here's how we can wrap that one up. Offering compassionate questions, or in my case, compassionate labeling. I told you the story a couple years ago. I got empty dog water bowl shamed, and my inner persecutor kept ruminating on that. And then this very morning, because we went hiking last night, the dog drank all the water. I didn't notice, and the bowl had been empty all morning. And we got back this morning from our um, exercise, and the bowl was empty. And look at me, I'm hitting my neck because this is so much where my persecutor lives. I'm already like, ooh, I'm bracing for the like expected beratement of the persecutor. And I saw the empty water bowl, and I'm like, God damn, I'm such a fucking terrible mom. And then the like challenger, the coach energy, the one that can create new experiences, was like, sounds like it's really important to you to have a dog that's hydrated. And I was like, and look at now, I'm like holding my neck, like, oh my God, that's a kinder thing to say. It's like, yeah, I do. It sounds like there's a lot on your plate. You have a lot of balls in the air, and it seems reasonable that you missed the empty dog water bowl. And it's like, yeah, it is actually. It sounds like you don't give yourself enough credit for all the things that you have on your life plate right now. Yeah, it sounds like you could use some compassionate kindness around the water bowl and recognize that you made a mistake. And now I'm about to burping to the truth. My persecutor was so used to berating and shaming me for making a mistake. And the challenger was like, the challenger could see this broader perspective of, it sounds like you have a lot on your plate, and it seems reasonable that you missed the empty water. It's like, yeah. And it sounds like you don't necessarily fully recognize how hard on you it can be when you beat yourself up and don't recognize all the other things that you have. And it's like, yeah, it sounds like maybe you don't fully comprehend that making a mistake is a human thing. Yeah. It sounds like you're used to beating yourself up for making a mistake. It's like, yeah. And then it led to this beautiful sentence that I wrote down like, hey, the challenger helped the inner persecutor grow up to become more of a challenger, because I heard this voice inside of me go like, yeah, man, I made a mistake. That doesn't mean I deserve to be persecuted. And I wrote that down, and I'm going to put that up because we all make mistakes. It doesn't mean we deserve persecution. Maybe that's conditioned in because of reps in the past, but we can challenge the past and create a new. And then this like lovely statement, this affirmation that came from exactly what Jody said, like, let your inner challenger offer the inner persecutor compassion in the form of curious questions and conversations. And then it led to this beautiful sentence: I don't deserve to be persecuted for my humanity. Like, I want to cry because it is human to make mistakes. And in the grand scheme of things, if my dog doesn't have water for a half an hour, we're all going to be okay. The like, just my inner persecutors growing up, and it feels really nice. Oh. So, my friends, let's catch up here. Nicole, thank you for your tears. Lovely. Sounds like you might be able to relate to that. I'm skimming through some of these comments, and I want to go through them, and then I want to highlight the challenger role and some of the common thoughts and feelings and behaviors. And maybe we can all flush out together, what are some challenges in becoming more of a challenger role? What are some fears around that? That would be lovely. Oana, this is a little bit back to earlier, like, I am right, which can oftentimes be that persecutor sentence means I'm useful, I'm needed, I'm more in control. Yeah, it's such a beautiful, like the jackal, the persecutor, it's an attempt to get a need met. And what I'm learning about the science of compassion is that compassion is actually oftentimes a more effective strategy to meet the need. Curiosity is an effective strategy to meet the need. So whenever some big energy comes up where my system's triggered, oh, there's an unmet need in there, right? I'm curious about what those might be for you, Oana, to be useful, to be needed, to be more in control. It's beautiful. KP, I eat everything I crave, but now in moderation. That sounds beautiful. My persecutor tightened my body. Yes, that's what mine does to me. I now recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture myself. Oh, I love that. Nurture with beauty in nature, yoga, breathing, meditation. Tell me, KP, the difference that makes in your body is what? I love that. I love it, love it, love it. Um, Part of me would be curious if you're still in relationship with these men in your life, and if so, what role? Victim, rescuer, persecutor, creator, coach, challenger, a mix of all six that rhymed how delightfully in time. My inner poet, and I know it. I'm going to stop now. Vidya, hello, heart, heart. Paisley, I can offer that compassion to others for the same thing I don't allow myself compassion for. Yep, I would say that that's a very common thing for sure. And what I find comforting in there, it's like, oh, the ability to be compassionate towards a human lies within me. That's good. I wonder now if I can find those circuits, the one that doesn't allow compassion for me. I'm a human. Sounds like maybe I could develop the ability to be compassionate towards myself. KP, love the challenger and persecutor on the same team. Yes, the improv stage of your life with six chairs, all six roles. I find that to be so much more helpful than trying to eliminate these three roles and just do these three roles. Like, no, let's have a stage and you're all welcome here. So much so, I find this important that I'm creating a class for it and it will start in June. So stay tuned for details around that. I'm very excited. All of you have inspired that within me. Um, yeah, so challenger and persecutor are on the same team. Stop the ruminator and give respect to the persecutor. Ask questions and compassions. Yes. Owana, body just let out a huge sigh to like, yeah, man, I made a mistake. That's what we do as humans. That's how we learn. And your body feels better, right? Just that is so compassionate. I made a mistake. That doesn't mean I deserve to be persecuted. And it just is the compassion that came about through me showing up today with that water bowl in the role of challenger instead of persecutor made all the difference in the world. Then I showed up to my office 40 minutes later than I wanted to be. Wow, sounds like you're really good at time management, but you didn't consider maybe these other factors that are at play here. That's what my challenger told me this morning when I showed up 40 minutes late. Not accountable to anybody else but me because I didn't recognize other factors of the day. That's a way different challenger conversation towards myself instead of the persecutor in me that says I suck at time boundaries. Fuck you. Like fucking awful. By the way, my persecutor will cuss a lot more than any other role inside of me. Oh my God, KP, the men are gone and they were my security. And now the adult self takes care of my inner child. Mm, I just want to go like get a blanket and nest up and nurture myself. Okay, friends, it is 11:10 Mountain Time. We're going to shift into the thinking, feeling, and behaving strategies of a challenger. And then we'll talk a little bit about the challenger and what fears or challenges it comes up for in you. So, your invitation here. Credit to powerofted.com. Thank you, David Emerald. I'm going to read the thoughts, the feelings, and the behaviors of a challenger. Your invitation is to notice your body and notice what comes up for you as I read these common thoughts of a challenger. Things unfold at their own pace. Notice your body. You can do it. Notice your body. Last thought of a challenger, I trust the process. All right, friends. What, if anything, did you notice in your body or your mind, inside or out, about the thoughts of a challenger? Marcus is so sleepy this morning because of our long hike yesterday. I really want to wake him up and do some tug of war. I don't know if it's going to work because it's a good visual of the persecutor and challenger in me. Marcus, what's this? You wake up? Let's see if he wakes up here. Oh, good stretch. Come here, baby. Come on up. Come on up. Up. Come here. Come on up. 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 Oh, the camera is not amazing today. Okay, we might be a little too sleepy, but look at him. He's ready to talk in the microphone. He says, I definitely move closer to my mom when she's challenger than persecutor. Yeah, we'll do a little video of our tug of war game because, see, he does like my challenger role better. When we play tug of war, it's like my persecutor and challenger inside of me. That's what it feels like to the persecutor. The challenger is like, it's a game. It's cool. I'm good. I'm good. You're good. We love you. But the persecutor is like slaying knives and thinking everybody's bad. Okay. Jody, thank you for your contribution. The thoughts seem scary to a persecutor. Ding, 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 ding. If you liked dog treats, I would give you one right now because absolutely. I think my shift from persecutor to challenger was one of the more challenging ones. It was filled with sympathetic arousal, threat energy. Absolutely. The idea of trusting the process, the idea of trusting another person that they can do something, the idea of letting things unfold at their own pace instead of taking charge and it being in control of it. Absolutely. I want to validate how scary the challenger can feel to a persecutor. Paisley, I love your support. Thank you. The thoughts of the challenger, things unfold at their own pace. You can do it. I trust the process. So Paisley's body feels that I'm recognizing the progress I've made in this area. That's beautiful. I love that. And Awana noticed a bit of freeze, I think. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I definitely have a little bit, I don't know if it's a freeze, but like a contraction, constriction energy in my neck and throat chakra. But I'm still effective. I think. I don't know. I'm here. You're here. We're still having a conversation. Let's move into the feelings of a challenger. Owana, you might notice the first feeling of a challenger, self-awareness. Notice your body, notice your mind. Oh my God, Marson's here. Sunshine. How's the Big Ben today, my friends? The feelings of a challenger, self awareness. Notice your mind and body. The feelings of a challenger, empowered through living their values. What? Yes. Oh my gosh. Notice mind and body still standing. I'm so glad. Big Ben still standing. We're feeling better. New king. Yes, it's true. I heard about that over the weekend. Big deal. I want to say the third feeling of a challenger: confident, direct, and clear. Notice what's happening in your body and your mind. The feelings of a challenger: self awareness, empowered through living their values, confident, direct, and clear. Mm. I'm just needing to sort of wiggle around and kind of let that plinko itself all the way in, because there's areas where I can do that well, and there's areas where it's still a little scary. What did you notice in your body, in your mind, around the feelings of a challenger? Thank you, Paisley. Brent has a lovely thing here. My challenger will take on a challenge imposed by my persecutor. There's another beautiful thing. Like, the invitation of noticing the persecutor within is in and of itself a challenging act that the challenger can take on, right? No matter how small a part of my life experience, winning is my challenger in action. And I think that's a key thing here. Like, set yourselves up for success. Start with something little and go to something big, right? Like, my challenger challenging the persecutor within with an empty dog water bowl is a challenge that's going to set me up for a lot more success than ending a relationship because I've discovered I'm not living fully in my values in this relationship. Whew, that's a big challenge. So don't start with the big challenges, start with the little. And then you win that challenge, that will grow your confidence to be able to take on ever, you know, incrementally increased challenges. It's like lifting weights, right? The PT and me, I don't start you with a 55-pound dumbbell. We start with a 5-pound dumbbell and see how you do. Okay. Um, Paisley, living your values can be easy at times and hard at times, right? And that's chaotic or confusing. Like, this whole life thing can be hard and chaotic and confusing, which is why I'm really humbly leaning more and more into other people and my own system and trusting more, because trying to do it all yourself, myself alone, it's not sustainable. And so connecting in with safe other people lets me have an easier time in the challenge and the chaos of life that can be hard and confusing. Oh my gosh, Marcus is very alive after that little snack he got. Challenger behaviors, my friends. Pay attention to what comes up in your body, in and around your body, in and around your mind. The behaviors of a challenger provoke or evoke themselves and others to take action. What do you notice happen inside of you when I say the behavior provoke or evoke themselves or another to take action? And that makes sense, right? The challenger, sympathetic arousal, is about action. It's the gas pedal of your human car nervous system, right? Like, there's a gas and a brake, sympathetic, parasympathetic. The sympathetic arousal is challenger. It's like fierce compassion, action. And that can be uncomfortable, especially if there's a lot of freeze energy there historically. Uh, Two more behaviors of the challenger. Focus is on improvement and growth. The fact that there's still a community of people in this conversation with me tells me already you have challenger energy inside of your nervous system, because the action of you being here is focused on improvement and growth. And I thank you. And Renee, you need to listen to your own words. The challenger holds self and others accountable. How does that live in your body or your mind? Mm. I'm just noticing my own, and it just feels so overwhelming and good and uncomfortable, right? Because my chemical riverbed of my nervous system is used to, like, I can hold this much good and then it overflows, and I'm like having to dig trenches to hold more good in my life. I love this work with all of you. Thank you for being here. Jody. Oh, Marcus might be in a place. Are you ready to do a little rumble? This is sometimes how my persecutor and challenger feel inside. No, see, this is fabulous. He's not even willing to play. It's kind of like a little hidden message that my persecutor doesn't want to persecute anymore. But look at this. He'll my persecutor. This was a good idea in my head. I don't know if it's actually coming through the way I was wanting it to. It all works the way it's supposed to, but like sometimes I feel like the persecutor energy in me, everything's just a freaking fight. Look at that cute little boy. Maybe I can't evoke a fight in Marcus because there's less fight in me. It's kind of a fun thought. Okay, Jody, I think I'm about to love what you're saying. Anytime something says, this is going to sound weird or this might sound odd, I already love it. So thank you. Jody envisions her challenger turning her back to the persecutor and reaching out a hand to help it climb a big rocky mountain. The persecutor needs help to grow. Folks, can you feel the compassion oozing out, through, in, everywhere, that statement? Like, just take a moment to really let your system perceive what Jody's saying here. Like, there's an energy in the world that wants to support you. There's an energy in the world that wants to help you. There's an energy in the world holding out a hand to you. And it's not to hit you or slap you or make you wrong or bad. It wants to help you grow. And growth, climbing a big mountain, can be terrifying. And that is the journey of helping the persecutor grow up into the challenger, is through the words Jody just shared with us. Thank you. Yeah. I think everybody that's commenting likes what you said, Jody. Like, it's a gorgeous image. And so it might sound odd, yes, because most of us probably aren't used to having a persecutor energy be treated with respect and support and care and compassion like that. And I think that's why it might have sounded odd. But I would love for that to be the new norm. Do you know how much healthier we would be as a society, individually, in our bodies, in our minds, in our lives? Like, thank you for that image. It's beautiful. You are allowed to turn your back. Just having that permission lightened me. See, like, we all impact one another. It's proof. We're on a YouTube live, all of us gathering around the world. One person's statement is affecting all of us here. It's gorgeous. Whew, sometimes it's uncomfortable for me to like receive that much goodness in the world. Marcin is the challenger and inner critic. It totally can. I don't experience it per se as an inner critic, but it's a voice that can challenge, and sometimes that can feel like an inner critic. I would say the persecutor's more like an inner critic than the challenger. Um, that doesn't mean sometimes the challenger can feel like a persecutor. Like my dad was a huge challenger, and I also experienced him for a very long time as a huge persecutor. And now I can see where there was definitely both there. And the more I challenge my persecutor's perspective of my father, the more I can see him as a challenger that was there to help me grow and get up these big hills in my life. So, um, yeah, that's good. I think that the scary thing about the challenger, what are some common fears, some common concerns as you experience this challenger? Jody called out several, a couple. I think trusting the process is really scary for a lot of people. Trusting yourself is scary for a lot of people. Inviting others to take personal responsibility can be a scary part of the challenger. I know for many of my patients, trusting themselves, trusting their own system is like, no, that doesn't, no, no, like, no, 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 right? Because if I trust myself, that threatens potential past attachments in the world, right? I'm sure there's a lot more there. Trusting myself, then yeah, I don't. Um, Trusting yourself. I would encourage people to start with noticing little things where you can trust yourself. You can trust yourself to lock the car after you leave it. You can trust yourself to turn off the oven. You can just start collecting pieces of credible evidence where you can trust yourself and you can trust the process of life. I think that's a way to help build trust within ourselves. Who was it earlier that had the clothes that you're getting rid of in your closet? Was that you, Paisley, or somebody else? Like, here's what I would say: throw out a piece of clothing and then notice your body and see what happens, and then bring it back and then see what happens, and then throw it out again and then see what happens. And like, kind of just see. And then I think eventually clarity will come. It has a way of piercing through. So, trusting yourself. And for me, the other part that's been challenging about incorporating the challenger role is this idea of holding other people responsible for their affairs, their personal stuff. That really challenges the people pleaser in me, because that little girl wants everybody to just like her. And if I say something that might be upsetting or suggest that that's not mine to do, that's yours to do, like that can be so scary to the people pleaser inside of me, which ultimately serves everybody well if she starts trusting the challenger within me more. Okay. We're going to start moving towards wrapping up. What are you taking away from today's time together? What are you receiving? How are you going to grow your challenger? Brent, oh, the persecutor beat me up over smoking cigarettes, and the challenger helped me quit. Oh, what a great analogy in such a tight sentence. I love that. That single success has sustained me for decades. Yeah, that challenger can really build our confidence and sustain us literally for decades. I love that, like, a lot. I'm just saying. Paisley, trusting the process when you feel like you're unsure of the process feels like trusting the unknown, which is really scary until you get the process. And that's a huge relief. Yes, that's exactly why the work of Renee as a human has taken 23 years to like really kind of unfold, but I have so much clarity on the breakdown that occurs between mind and body and creates problems in mind and body is the 3 U's of life. The unknown, the unwanted, the unexpected will knock so many of us off our course and throw our nervous system into circuits of defend and threat and protect. And those 3 U's of life can create problems in health, mind, body, relationships. And so a nervous system ninja, I think, has the skills to feel confident in the face of those 3 U's, the unknown, the unwanted, the unexpected. Because like you said, once you get it, then you're good, right? You can breathe again. And that's what we want to do is breathe through life. It's a good thing to have, like really. And Paisley, that's why I still have all this stuff. I always pull it back and kept it like it was a receipt I might need. Yeah, the security blanket. Like, excuse my cursing here, but shit is warm. Like the chemical comfortability of the like shitty, shamey energy is real. And that's why this growth process can be so uncomfortable because we have to challenge ourselves, challenge the riverbeds of our nervous system to run different water through it with different levels and different chemicals. Jody, survival can be behind the persecutor's actions. 100%. Yeah. Like for me personally, life threat. And my system doesn't let go of that lightly. If it perceives my life is in danger, it will very much kick in and hold on strong to its strategies, which is why the persecutor's taken and the rescuer and the victim, I think in my experience, they've been connected to survival level of threat. Okay, what else are you receiving from today? What's your takeaway? Awana, approximate quote. I like that disclaimer from Terry Real. I've heard you mention him a couple times. Sounds like he's a fan of yours. He may or may not be a fan of yours, but you're a fan of his. There's nothing that harshness does that loving firmness doesn't do better. Never occurred to me until today to try and apply it to myself and my inner roles. That's a beautiful quote. There's nothing that harshness does that loving firmness doesn't do better. It's true. I had a similar thing when I really understood that compassion is actually anti-inflammatory. It's like, then why are you using any other strategy but that, Renee? Fierce compassion, tender compassion. I'm practicing them both. So thank you, Awana, for sharing that. No sect. What's up? Good to see you. Thanks for chiming in here at the end. Glad you did. Paisley, my debate on the clothes today was, are they vintage or not? Because I came across a souvenir Millennium Zeros shirt. I love it. I love it. You know, are they vintage or not? What in 2000 they weren't. In 2040 they probably will be. Nicole is saying right at you, Jody. Jody, thank you for being here today. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Thank you, Marcus, for being here today. And next week, we're going to have hopefully a lively interplay and discussion between all of us. How do we put all these roles together? What are the key ingredients to bringing all these roles together onto the stage of your life, both inner and outer? And I'm very excited about that. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm excited about my 6-week course. It's actually going to be 3 weeks with an option for a second 3 weeks. So you only have to commit to 3 weeks, and then you can do the second 3 weeks if you want a little bit of a deeper dive. Marcin, we will see you next time. We will see you next week. Same bat channel, my friends. Appreciate you all. Thank you for tuning in. Flowers and roses, Vidheya and unicorns, to Marcin, flowers, no sect. Cool to hear you too. Jody, thank you very much. Would love to connect with you at some point. And blessings to all of you. Mm. Spread your number YouTube Live 23 wings. Go forth and fly.